In today's Wednesday's Reads, an author is using her own life experiences to discuss racial injustice. The Exene Chronicles follows a black teenager's journey through the chaotic and often racist 1980s punk rock world. So for more on this, I'm joined by book critic Gwen Reyes from freshfiction.com. So Gwen, I find this very interesting. Punk rock, the 80s, and LA, in California?
Yes, LA, yep.
So let's set the scene here. Why exactly is this teenager worshiping this punk rock goddess, if you will?
So our main character, Leah, she has recently found out that her best friend has gone missing.
Okay.
And she's being investigated, getting all these questions asked by the police and by her parents and by her best friend's parents of where is Ryan? And it turns out, of course, she doesn't necessarily know everything that happened, but because of the world and the life that they have developed together, because they're going to these shows and they're just kind of teenagers just having a good time and dating men that they're not supposed to be dating and all of these things, it turns out that Ryan has some secrets that Leah didn't even know about.
Oh, interesting. So I'm wondering, though, how exactly does she identify with this punk rocker?
Right. So
it's not a pair or combination you'd normally think of.
Right. So Ryan, turns out, Ryan and Leah were both really into this music scene. And so the only way that Leah is really able to kind of deal with the loss of her friend is by listening to this music and then finding out that Ryan was involved with more to do with this music and sort of the things that by investigating and chatting with Exene, she's able to identify who she really is and figure out what she wants in life. And I thought that was really interesting because she's so afraid to talk to her idol, this Exene person who, it's not like this is Dave Grohl or Eddie Vedder. This is like a person who's really accessible for them because it's in a small community.
Gotcha.
But she still idolizes her and feels so removed and can kind of relate to the stories that her songs are telling.
I find it fascinating, though, that this is supposed to be her good friend, her best friend, Ryan, and it takes that person to disappear to then learn more about her own self, like pulling back those layers.
Yeah,
right?
and because there's interesting things, like they're 15, and Ryan was so obsessed with dying young, and that's the thing that's really hit on in the beginning of the book, of like idolizing Romeo and Juliet, and really just kind of romanticizing this idea. And so then after that, she's lost because she doesn't really have these same sort of emotions and feelings that Ryan does. Leah's always been like, well, whatever Ryan's going to do, I'm okay with doing. And so now she's kind of has to grow up and identify outside of her.
A little more independent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is definitely then sort of a coming-of-age novel for maybe young adults who can maybe learn about themselves going through Leah's experience here.
Yeah, and I definitely think anybody, especially for The Hate U Give, is was just released last week as a film, and this is in the same sort of vein of that. So it's a really great way of, one, talking about racial injustices within teenage levels. So I think that helps make the conversation make sense for kids and for parents too, because they're able to put themselves in that situation.
Which we know can be a very complex conversation
very
to have. All right, interesting there. So the Exene Chronicles, if you're interested, maybe you or your teen at home, you can pick it up and take a read. Gwen, thank you so much for joining us.